Okay, great. Hello, guys. Welcome to the panel. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
Absolutely. I'm Jose Lemus. I'm the CEO of IBEX, co-founder, and we do Lightning Infrastructure as a Service.
Hi, my name is Vadim, and I'm Chief Operating Officer for Bitfury Group.
So, my name is Anton Golub. I'm founder and chairman of SwissAssetDAO, and we're a DAO in Switzerland dedicated to real-world asset investments.
Great. Thank you so much. And we're going to our first question today. So, a lot of people have been criticizing crypto, like Bitcoin, for being very volatile and not very environmental friendly. Where do you see this is going in the future? And do you think that it will still be widely accepted because of its volatility?
Yeah. Well, first of all, volatility is not necessarily a bad thing, in my opinion. I think a lot of times, and as we just heard in the previous panels, volatility actually, you know, decreases interest in the asset. So having high volatility so far, I think, works in our favor. I do think it will, start to go down as we move along. I think a lot of the issue is just size, right? When you compare crypto and Bitcoin and everything to the broader, let's say, money market, so FX and stuff, it's a drop in the bucket what we're doing. So, but as we grow, volatility will decrease. It's different if you put $1 billion of sell or buy orders into $100 billion pool versus $1 trillion pool. So that should fix itself. In terms of the narrative of the not environmentally friendly, I think there's a lot of misleading information out there. I think it's exactly the opposite. I think this technology is one of the most environmentally friendly technologies out there. It helps reduce a lot. It helps increase our efficiency in energy production and pushes us to use better energy. And I think as the market realizes this, that will just go away.
Thank you. And Vadim, do you want to share anything of it?
Yeah, actually, I agree with you, and I guess a couple of years ago, these questions were widely discussed regarding volatility, regarding future, regarding ESG issues. But right now, I think I can conclude that we passed already this stage, and I doubt there are many people that would argue with me that volatility has been constantly decreasing and adoption increasing, and we keep seeing new and new big names entering the space. So, and volatility is not something unusual for an emerging technology, and we are still at very early stages of adoption of crypto. But again, with emergence of names like BlackRock, Vanguard, and others, I think we will be seeing great, unbelievable traction in 25, 26. It's just starting. And I completely agree with ESG, so it's actually the opposite. And there are a lot of market cases showing that mining helps to develop renewable energy, and it stimulates deployment of solar farms, wind farms that would otherwise not be deployed, as simple as that. And there are multiple researches that show that actually energy mix being consumed by miners is healthier and greener than those consumed by any other industry, especially traditional banking industry. And another element is that energy, it's not wasted. It is used to secure transactions. It is used to ensure security and protection. Unlike ATMs, for instance, where energy is getting consumed just to keep ATM running, you know, to keep it cool, to keep it like blinking, lightning, to print receipts and so on and so forth. So I believe in Bitcoin we actually use energy in a better way than in other industries.
Awesome. So Vadim and Jose really nailed it perfectly. And I just want to add one thing that Jose mentioned actually. So anybody who has ever traded or been part of the capital markets know that volatility actually comes from lack of liquidity. And compared to established markets like Jose mentioned, the foreign exchange markets that have 4 trillion in volume daily, or the interest rate markets, that is the government bond market, we are still very early days when it comes to liquidity or lack of liquidity in the crypto markets. And counterintuitively, as liquidity improves, volatility will go down, but that will also result in price appreciation. So all of this liquidity that we are now thinking about with the potential approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF in US will obviously, like Jose mentioned, will reduce volatility because we're going to have more liquidity coming in. But counterintuitively, but good for the crypto industry, that means will price appreciation. And speaking about the role of Bitcoin in the future and crypto in the future, if I kind of go back and read the white paper, the Bitcoin was meant to be a peer-to-peer decentralized payment system. Today, for most of the people, it is not that. For most people, it's an asset class where you allocate capital. For many people, it's an infrastructure play, if you're a miner, to generate revenue, to secure the transactions, or you are actually a speculator. So I think it's very interesting for us to reflect on the future of Bitcoin in the context of the white paper and where we ended up. So for me.
Great, thank you so much, Anton. And next question is for you as well. It's about DAO. You guys can chime in as well. So I know that you have the SwissAssetDAO, and can you tell us about why you're passionate about DAO and how does that matter to the community?
So my passion for DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations, comes from the key value of our industry and of our ecosystem, and that is decentralization. Decentralization is actually the biggest innovation of our industry. And when we're kind of reflecting how we can apply decentralization in different scopes of life, for instance, beyond having a decentralized, secure payment or settlement network, there's also a decentralized manner how to govern or run an entity. This is quite different than running a traditional entity or a company that I'm sure Jose and Vadim are aware of. Is when you run a traditional entity, you have shareholders, usually have a main shareholder or the main group of shareholders. They decide everything indirectly. You have a board who is supervising the company and makes sure that it's run in line with the goals of the shareholders. Then you have the management. Now, if you take that and you flip it upside down, way how you can actually enable direct governance is actually through a DAO, where in the end, the members decide everything. And I want to really make a point that this is a very big difference. For me now, running a DAO, but also before I'm founder of 4 companies, I was usually the shareholder, main shareholder on the board, I was the CEO or part of the management. How different it is when you are at the service of the members, and when the members actually decide in the end everything. But I want to also point out that DAOs are in the early days. Even though there's today more than 12,000 DAOs in the world, a lot of people don't know it. It's 12,000, it's a huge number. We are still in the early days, particularly from a point of legal matters. because a DAO needs a legal wrapper because it lives in the real world where the members live in the real world. But the DAOs objectively are created and run in this crypto ecosystem, in the crypto space, or on-chain as you would like to say it. And to wrap out, my thoughts around DAOs, to make a very strong statement, in the near future, every crypto project will be a DAO. I think we need to be aware of that. Maybe that will be a bit challenging if you're a highly regulated player. So let's say you're a crypto native bank. It's going to be challenging to be a DAO as well. But if you are a protocol, if you're a service provider, maybe if you're even a mining company, for instance, I think the near-term future and destiny for us is that all of these players will be actually decentralized autonomous organizations.
Thank you, Anton. It's very inspiring points. And next question is that there are so many emerging technologies coming up, like artificial intelligence and other. Like, how do you think the emerging new technologies are helping to reshape more secured and more decentralized financial system, or help to reshape the future of the space?
In regards to AI, ML, or LLMs and our technologies, which is payments and financial networks outside of the companies that you were mentioning, I think there's going to be a natural convergence. It's not one pushing the other. It's that both are going to need each other. So a lot of what we're doing in Lightning is actually geared towards the enabling of machine-to-machine payment and the ability to pay for compute cycles, which is going to be huge. And a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of miners are starting to also sell CPU cycles for LLMs and AIs. So there is a natural convergence in these two industries. And the truth of the matter is that machine-to-machine payments cannot be easily executed in the traditional, let's call it, payment space. And it does need the technologies we are working on and that have been developed lately. So I think they will feed into each other. And at the end of the day, financial transactions is just another subset of information. So, and the internet is an information technology, AI, LLMs, information technology, and crypto and Bitcoin as well, information technology.
Thank you.
Yep. No, it's hard to predict how exactly we will see the outcomes of blockchain plus AI cooperation, because we are entering super innovative space. And whenever you are entering innovative space, I do not remember who was that, Bill Gates, who told that we tend to overestimate what is going to happen in 5 years and underestimate what is going to happen in 10 years. So we can see the pictures that seem to be unseen right now, unimaginable. And the way I think about it is that AI is a super strong tool, but in order to realize its full potential, of course, it needs a lot of structured data, and that's the key: structured data. And what blockchain does, and in the form of Web3 or DAO or Bitcoin or whatever else, it provides a lot of structured, easily accessible data. Whenever you combine large arrays of structured, easily accessible data with superpower to process data of AI, you can only imagine how creative people could be coming up with different innovative ideas that you never thought of. So that's the way I look at it, and I think it's going to be like absolutely exciting to see what's going to happen in the nearest years.
If if I can tag on here, because you said something super interesting there, which ties into some of the things that I've been speculating about regarding this, is that I do believe that the technologies that we're working on are going to move from what I call batch transaction processing, batch transactions, into real-time financial transactions. And what you said is super interesting to that, because I think what happens when we give AI and these LLMs and this technology real-time access to real-time financial transactions. And when I mean real-time financial transactions is the ability to know, let's say, a Coke was purchased in Dubai 3:30 p.m. right now, right? And that could be really, really interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts around this.
That's right. Sorry, Anton. Go ahead.
So, Jose, you said something that really deeply touches my heart and my professional career, because I originally started in the foreign exchange markets as a high-frequency trader. And for me, it was always extremely puzzling to understand why I do transactions in milliseconds, but when I send money to my father, it's for some reason takes many days, actually. Yeah. So I really want to say that we have an opportunity to fuse a lot of technologies together. I think this is not something that has happened many times in the history of humanity. One point where I am reflecting a lot, well, where generative AI, I think today when people talk about AI, they mean generative AI, is going to really make it difficult for people to understand what is real, what is artificial, or what is fake. And I think that the challenge for most people will be on the receiving side. So I don't think there will be there will not be the creators. I think a very small group of people will be creators, but the way they will use AI and the opportunities for them to scale using generative AI will make it very difficult for people who are receiving all that content, all this matter. Actually, they'll have a hard time understanding what is happening and what is real. And I think opportunity to use blockchain is amazing. I think we have not seen it yet, to be honest. Also, I think maybe more because I'm finally glad I'm able to say it. Generative AI is in the early days and blockchain is a bit more mature. But I think this is an amazing opportunity for our industry to fuse technologies, yeah?
Great, thank you, Anton. And do you guys think that Bitcoin will become a legal tender in other countries in the future? Do you think it has the potential, or?
Depends on how far in the future you want to go to. I think it definitely has the potential, and there's multiple jurisdictions right now that do not use their own currency, and those are low-hanging fruit. But we do need it to be a lot more stable, so create a lot of volatility for it. We need it to be a lot more accessible from the technological standpoint. So it is still a very big challenge to have a legal tender that is only digital. If you cut out large portions of the population, I do see a world where all money is digital, and the technology is there to support it, but not there yet.
It's difficult to answer this question because I am thinking a lot how the new financial system could look like. And, if you imagine Bitcoin as becoming a legal tender, that, it assumes the profound transformation of how the countries are governed. Because, inflation mechanism and managing M1 and M2 are one of the key levers for governments to develop their countries. If they get rid of these instruments and switch to Bitcoin entirely, so it will mean probably the new level of integration of the world and diminishing role of country governments, how the system would work. It's hard to imagine. Hence, I am observing and following with great interest how it is developed in a number of countries that are experimenting already with that, like Salvador, for instance, because it's just hard to imagine how they can combine these, traditional ways to stimulate national economies with limited control over Bitcoin as such. So it's a great question, and to be frank, I have no answer. I don't think there is anyone in the world that have well articulated answer for this question. But I think chances are quite high.
Thank you.
So first to mention is that I come from Switzerland, where we have an opportunity actually to use and pay with cryptocurrencies, but predominantly with Bitcoin, at many different locations, and also at many governmental bodies. You're actually able to pay for fees or even taxes with cryptocurrencies, namely with Bitcoin. So I'm extremely proud of that. Now, when it comes to seeing Bitcoin as a legal tender, we have to understand two perspectives. One is personal or corporate, and the second one is actually governmental. Now, when people talk about legal tender, they mean that we will have an opportunity to use Bitcoin to pay for our bills, for instance, or to pay for certain services, or to use it actually in exchange of goods, or to issue, for instance, an asset or a bond that's Bitcoin or crypto denominated. So this is the personal or a corporate. This is a very positive one, and I think that's what gets us very excited. Now the governmental one, when you mention legal tender, they mean pay your taxes. That's what makes something in the end a legal tender. And I can tell you from my discussions with people in the monetary institutions, with the regulators, and on the governmental side, they are not interested in Bitcoin there. They're interested in CBDCs. CBDCs are coming in some countries or places faster, in some slower, but the governments want to implement CBDCs, give everybody a wallet. Within that wallet, they have all the information about you, and your duty to pay taxes will be immediate on the level of that wallet with CBDCs. This is a very much negative connotation. It's a connotation in the context of governmental control and surveillance, and there I'm not positive at all, to be honest. I wish we could have the opportunity to have an aligned governments to use cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin and see them as an opportunity within the context of a legal tender, but my understanding is that is not the case. Governments are rolling out CBDCs, they're coming, and it will be used as a surveillance and a power control tool.
And I share these concerns of Anton because, CBDCs they can control. It's just the new form of national money. What I was speaking about is that, if they give up this control and allow Bitcoin to be used for whatever transaction, including governmental payments, then it sounds like counterintuitive how governments can keep managing the country without having full control over monetary turnover in this country. So it assumes entire new philosophy of managing society and diminishing role of national governments, and we are stepping into completely new territory here.
Yeah, I agree with that point that it's uncharted territory, but it's actually one of my hopes is that diminishing role of national governments in everyday life for people. And what I always come back to is that governments as such, at the end of the day, they don't really exist, right? They're a construct that we, as basically the population, have built out to kind of not kill each other, right? So it's a way to organize ourselves and to govern and to kind of come to agreements, what's right, what's wrong, that type of stuff. And as such, it is in the power of us, the population, to demand from the people who are in government to allow for these technologies to flourish. And we we don't need somebody to per se control the money.
And if you allow me to add, I think the perfect end game to that is if we can make countries DAOs. So I will end it with that. I will not expand. We can talk later.
I'm so much with you guys, and this is actually the subject which I will be covering during my presentation. I think our thoughts are like resonating a lot.
Good. That's a whole nother territory right there. uh, and I feel like there are still like people, especially policymakers, who are having misunderstanding about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. And what can we do? Like, what can the community do to achieve a wider adoption of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin technologies, etc.?
To me personally, but also to us as a company and the space we play in, it really comes out down to just one word, and that is education. You fear what you do not know, and the only way to push against this fear is with education. And there are, I will say this, I do not feel that policymakers, regulators, etc., necessarily are the enemy in the traditional sense. My my perception more is they have real concerns about legality of operations and crime and violence and a lot of stuff, and fraud and scams and protecting people. How we go about this, I think, is up for debate. I don't think that the technologies that we're working on are the enemy. In fact, I think they can offer real interesting solutions to a lot of these issues, but it does require reframing of what is possible, right? And kind of leaning into the benefits of these technologies and accomplishing or trying to accomplish basically the same things, but through a different way. And so education to me is the one key thing.
I agree.
Jose said it perfectly. It's education. I think it's a duty for all of us to contribute on that matter, no matter what we are doing. This is also one of the key matters as well of SwissAssetDAO. We're really trying to work hard to educate people what is a DAO and how can they contribute. And if you want to learn more about DAOs, about real-world assets, and about Swiss DAOs who deal with real-world assets, I invite you to reach out to me and become a member as well. I think you'll benefit a lot from that.
And yeah, I agree. Education is an important step. It's the first step. And at Bitfury, we co-founded a number of non-for-profit organizations such as Global Blockchain Business Council, GBBC, Blockchain Trust Alliance, BTA, Coin Center, INADBA. We are founding member of INADBA. And the purpose of these organizations is to educate governmental agencies, law enforcement, community about advantages that Bitcoin, blockchain, and Web3 technologies can bring. But this is just the first step, and we see that it's not enough. It's like we are educating governments and they're coming up with CDBCs in reply. Was it the kind of desired outcome of ours? I am not sure, because CDBCs, as any powerful technology, can do good or can do terribly bad for a society. Social ratings and all these associated stuff, where they can just cut you off if you don't think in a way they want you to think. So it's just a terrible thing. Hence, I think in addition to education, there is a more important task, and it's super ambitious task, like one at a century task. We need to come up with an alternative way to build the world. Unless it happens, technologies will be used to maintain current system and even make it more powerful until we offer an alternative concept. Like, for instance, until we offer an exact way to transform the government into DAOs, like Anton mentioned, for instance. Until it happens, there's going to be, back and forth, and technology, believe me, governments, they are not interested in self-disruption. No, they are interested in maintaining their power. And again, as it happened with the blockchain technology, they realized what blockchain is, and they transformed it into CDBC. So, as simple as that. So we need to brainstorm as community about how the new, better world, self-governed, more decentralized, more fair, more equal can look like.
It is very good points. And anything else that you want to add to the panel? Any additional points, comments?
So, well, one of my big hopes is that a lot of how I see it is that just as we change our world through technology, technology that we develop also changes us. And it changes us profoundly. And my big hope with these technologies is that they're showing us a different way to do governance. Whereas right now we had this, I call it the hub and spoke model, which was what the Industrial Revolution kind of pushed forward because it was the most efficient way to manage an Industrial Revolution type company. Now we're starting to see what I call the neural network type organization, and that is more decentralized, way more decentralized. And I do hope, my big hope is that these technologies, by showing us how you can have decentralized governance, actually that filtrates back into our real world, and we get to a point where we actually do see those DAOs as governing structures socially.
Great. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
Stand up
colleagues.
it. Thank
It
you.
was awesome.
Thank you.